It's about climate change. Climate change is the worst ecological threat for humanity. I'm not sure I need to argue that. But you know what I mean. You have a perturbation of the climate that will have a terrible effect more and more for humanity and for the life on the planet. So we need to do something, and what we need to do is to decrease greenhouse gas emissions. I would say that almost all the countries of the globe would accept that we need to do something. So the problem is what to do and who needs to do what. And a year ago, a bit more than a year ago, I went to my first United Nations conference on climate change in Buenos Aires in Argentina. And then I was a new Minister of the Environment. And I went there and I thought, with a naive attitude, that the world would agree. But in fact, the world was very, very divided, to the point that the conference at Buenos Aires gave nothing as a result. What are the line of disagreements? It is that no politician on earth, whatever it is, developed or developing countries, is able to be elected in saying to the population, in order to restore the climate as it was, we will stop the growth. We will stop the industrialization, stop the economic development. So then we need to match economic development with fight against climate change. And then you have a lot of the countries of the globe that are saying, I cannot, as a country, ask my population any sacrifice because we are too poor. Because out of 6 billion of human beings, you have 2 billion that don't have electricity, don't have the capacity to be sure that they will have enough food for the end of the day. So don't ask us any sacrifice. You have countries that are industrialized that are saying, yes, it's true that we are not the sole one to have the responsibility, but we are ready to take some targets of reduction. And after long negotiations, this country agreed to have the Kyoto Protocol. The Kyoto Protocol gave us a reduction, assuming that the whole planet would accept to do something, would give us a reduction, a tenth of what the science asks us to do. That means you would need 10 times Kyoto to stabilize the effect of humanity on the climate. Not to correct what we have already done, only to stabilize. And these countries are struggling to reach their targets. Canada, as you know, is very far of its target. Europe is not reaching it. Japan has difficulty to reach it, and the same than New Zealand. We have difficulty to reach our target for 2012 of reduction, and these countries feel a bit lonely. They are altogether to the 35% of the emissions of the globe. That means that 65%, two-thirds of the emissions are out of the targets of Kyoto. And these countries are now in a situation where they need to start a process to negotiate between themselves the next phase of Kyoto, past 2012. And they are struggling for their first phase. So these countries are saying, we cannot do it alone. Please, the other countries, come and do your share too. And the third category of countries are the developed countries that have decided to be out of Kyoto. Essentially, United States, that are alone 25% of the emissions, and Australia. And these countries are saying, it will not work. We cannot accept to have these targets that would penalize our industry when China and India, the big new giants, Brazil, are not accepting any targets. They are stealing our jobs more and more. How can we accept a target? They are saying, in a way, these short-term targets are not the solution. What you need to do is to invest in technology, to have hydrogen, to have a CO2 capture and storage. All these technologies, without these technology, we cannot succeed. So you have three monologues, if you want. And a lot of suspicion between these three clubs. Difficulties a lot of mistrust between them. And it's why Buenos Aires, at the end of the day, end up with nothing. And then many countries came to see me and Prime Minister Martin and said, next year, Canada, take it, please. And I said, well, what is the likelihood of a success? It seems that there is no possibility to succeed. And they insisted. And I may tell you that the prestige of Canada is so great that many countries consider our country as the sole one to be able to do something. We are perceived as a good citizen of the world. I suspect it's because we have never sent our army abroad for other reasons than to help peace and democracy. We never had an empire. We never tried to have a conquest of another country. So for all these reasons, we are well regarded. And so I asked myself, can we say no when global warming is so important threat? If Canada is a good citizen of the world, maybe we should say yes. And I spoke to the Prime Minister Blair, phoned the Prime Minister, or the other leaders of the world, phoned him. And at the end of the day, we accepted to take it. But what a gamble it was. And if I have known at that time that we would be in the middle of an election, I think we would... So we accepted to take it. And what we have done right away is that we have built a very good team of Canadians, but also of other people, experts around the globe helping us. But we had a tremendous team of Canadians. And one of the strengths of our country is that in addition to have two official languages that are international languages, and then you may speak a lot of the language of many countries of the world, we have a multicultural population. And when you build a team, you have experts that are coming from everywhere. They're all Canadians, but all their backgrounds helps you to reach each continent, each region of the world. And this has been a great asset. My deputy minister is born in Egypt, for instance. And all my team was like that. And this is a great help. So we accepted the conference in February. In April, we came with moving forward on climate change, a plan for honoring our Kyoto commitment. 270 megatons that we need to cut in Canada. Our emissions are going up, as you know. It's 24% over zero of our 1990 emissions. And we need to be -6. So 30% of cuts between now and 2012. And we came with this plan that has been looked at by all the countries of the world, and many have been very impressed by that, and it gave us a lot of credibility. Now, what has been concluded at Montreal is what we need to call the MAP, the Montreal Action Plan. It is an action plan to indeed improve the clean development mechanism, indeed to be sure that adaptation will be a priority as much as mitigation, indeed make sure that the countries with targets will start right away the negotiations about what to do beyond 2012. And this is, for those of you that are expert of the file, the Article 3.9. Indeed, start right away to prepare the negotiation of next year, which is Article 9, the whole Kyoto Protocol. We need to revisit it, to improve it, and to look in which way we may revamp it. And we have to start this dialogue with the United States, Australia, all the countries of the world. It's a very demanding map, Montreal Action Plan. Now, the last thing you need to know is that Canada has been the chair of the conference, but then we are on the driving seat for the coming year. It is Canada that has the responsibility to help the Secretariat on Climate Change to deliver the Montreal Action Plan for the world. So if Canada, instead to be a champion of the cause of the fight against climate change, if Canada, instead to be a Kyoto supporter and champion, was a skeptic country, a country saying we don't believe in Kyoto, repeating what the leader of the Conservative Party said today, it's a bad deal, cannot work, Canada cannot make it. I think it's a tragedy if we are doing that in Canada, but it's a tragedy for the world because I tell you that then the balance of the world will change. We must be part of the solution here in Canada, domestically, and internationally, because Canada has a sense if Canada is a good citizen of the world.